you see some pretty wild stuff online. But this TikTok video popped up the other day that really made me stop scrolling. It showed these absolutely massive lines of people in China just waiting. It seemed like forever for some kind of event, for a mobile game, Snowbreak, containment zone. I mean, huge queues, the kind of thing you just don't see every day for a game.
Oh yeah, I saw that mentioned. It's definitely an image that makes you go, wait, what's going on there? And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We've got a kind of interesting mix of info to try and understand this buzz. There's the ground level view, that TikTok video, the reactions on Reddit, people being surprised. And then we actually have some hard financial numbers and some comments from an exec about maybe the same game, maybe a similar one called Break. Translations can be tricky.
Right, so we're looking at the vibe on social media and the bottom line from the business side. That sounds like a good combo to get a real picture of Snowbreak. So our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. Why the huge fuss? How big is this really? And maybe what does it signal about the wider gaming scene? Okay, so this video, the crazy lines, what was the actual story there?
Well, the Reddit post shared this video, apparently from Chinese TikTok. Looks like someone just walking by stumbled on this scene, just these incredible lines for a Snowbreak thing. And the first reactions on Reddit were kind of all over the place. Disbelief, mostly. People writing crazy lines in my book. Look at those lines with the skull emoji, you know?
Yeah. But mixed with excitement too, right?
Yeah.
I saw some comments like, typical Snowpeak W and Snowpeak keep winning. This is the players giving back. Sounds like they have some really dedicated fans.
Definitely seems that way. And it sounds like the sheer number of people showing up was a bit of a shock, even for the organizer.
Oh, really? Like they weren't prepared?
Apparently not initially. The reports mentioned some serious logistical issues on day one, people waiting up to 8 hours.
8 hours, wow. That's on commitment.
Huge commitment. But what's interesting is how fast the devs apparently reacted. They supposedly added more cash registers, sorted out the crowd control better. By day 2, the wait was down to about an hour. Still a wait, but, much more manageable.
That's actually pretty impressive. That kind of quick fix suggests they're really listening, right?
Exactly, shows they're tuned in. And it really underscores something else that came up on Reddit. The developers might have seriously underestimated how popular the game actually is.
How badly?
Well, the thinking was, for a normal pop-up store, maybe expect 100 people a day, but they got something like 4,000 on the first day alone.
4,000? Compared to 100?
Yeah, and maybe 8,000 to 10,000 over the whole 4-day event. It's just a completely different scale.
Okay, that's pretty wild. That definitely flies in the face of some chatter you sometimes hear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like people calling it a dead game.
Precisely. That exact phrase, dead game, came up in the Reddit thread too. But this enthusiasm we're seeing, it clashes hard with that idea. And this is where the financial data becomes, well, really crucial.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Because someone on Reddit really pushed back on that dead game thing with actual numbers, didn't they?
They did. They made a great point. Season Games, the developer, is publicly traded. So their financial reports are out there. This isn't guesswork. And according to those reports, Snowbreak pulled in about 1.2 billion yuan in revenue in 2024.
1.2 billion yuan.
Yeah.
What's that in, like, US dollars?
It's roughly 165 million US dollars in revenue. And maybe even more telling, the net profit was around 80 million US dollars.
$80 million net profit. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't exactly scream dead game, does it? Like the Redditor said, if you think that's a failure, you must be doing okay yourself.
Yeah.
How does that stack up against, other games or companies?
Well, comparing it to ShiftUp is quite revealing. They're another public company, Mickey, Stellar Blade, big hits. ShiftUp reported total revenue for all their stuff of about 151 million USD in 2024.
Wait, so Snowbreak, possibly just one game, made more revenue than ShiftUp's entire operation.
Pretty much in the same league, yeah. That comparison really puts the niche idea into question, doesn't it? And the Redditor also pointed out, this is Season's best-selling product in 2 decades. It's one of only 2 games they have that breaks 1 billion yuan in revenue. So for Season, it's a massive deal. That 80 million profit, that's nearly half their revenue for the game. It just blows that dead game idea out of the water.
Yeah, completely. Okay, so it's clearly making bank and people are showing up in droves. So what is the appeal? Why Snowbreak? What's pulling people in so strong?
The Reddit discussion offered a few angles. One user mentioned the whole waifu game with full-on master love aspect, suggesting it hits a specific spot for players interested in those character dynamics.
Okay, the character collector appeal. Makes sense for gacha.
Right. But, as we just saw with the numbers, maybe it's broader than just a tiny niche. Another big point was the genre itself. It's a gacha shooter, but in full 3D. Several users really stressed how kind of rare that is. Most gacha games are 2D, or maybe 2.5D.
Ah, okay. So the 3D shooter part is key.
Seems like it. They mentioned another game, Dolphin Wave, that's kind of similar but hasn't really left Japan. So maybe Snowbreak is filling this gap in the global market for that specific type of gameplay. It's not just, another skin on the same old system. It's offering something players want but can't easily find elsewhere.
So it's hitting that sweet spot. But it's not just about the characters or the 3D-ness, is it? Someone mentioned the actual combat.
Exactly. That was a key comment. Someone said, look, you can have the cool girls and the harem stuff and the story, but if the core game, the solid combat system, wasn't good, it wouldn't work. Which suggests the actual shooting mechanics are satisfying. People enjoy playing it, not just collecting. That's vital for keeping players long term.
Right. Needs to be fun to play. Though it's interesting, someone else brought up why we might not see tons of games like this. They suggested that maybe investors see these all-female 3D gachas as too niche, because 3D is expensive to make, and maybe investors prefer games with mixed genders to hit a wider audience. Is that the thinking?
That's definitely a perspective you hear in the industry regarding risk and investment. High development costs for 3D mean investors often look for the perceived safest bet, which is often seen as mixed gender casts. But Snowbreak's success here could actually challenge that idea. It shows that maybe these niche genres can be hugely successful if they really connect with an audience and are, well made.
Food for thought there. Okay, let us shift to that other source you mentioned, the one with the executive comments.
Right. This involves the CEO of Kingsoft, that's Season's parent company, a guy named Zhu Tao. He was apparently discussing thoughts from Lei Yun, a big name, founder of Xiaomi, also involved with Kingsoft, about a game called Dustbreak, which translates as Dust Break. Now, again, is it Snowbreak? Probably. The timing, the theme, the success level, it all seems to line up, but we have to acknowledge that slight uncertainty.
Okay, understood. So, assuming it's likely the same game or very closely related, what did this CEO Zhu Tao actually say about Dustbreak?
He reportedly stated that Dustbreak achieved over 1 billion yuan in net revenue in 2024.
Net revenue, not gross.
That's what the report indicates, yeah. Over 1 billion yuan net, which is huge. He also mentioned player numbers, 10 million domestic users in China and 3 million international.
Wow. 10 million plus 3 million, 13 million players total. And that revenue figure, it sounds like it lines up really well with the 1.2 billion gross and $80 million profit we heard about for Snowbreak from the other source.
It really does seem to reinforce those figures, suggesting we are likely talking about the same phenomena. And apparently there was even some discussion about whether that billion yuan net revenue figure was accurate.
Okay.
And the CEO, Zhu Tao, explicitly confirmed it, said the data was correct. Getting that kind of confirmation from the top adds a lot of weight.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize all this. We've got the TikTok video showing insane lines, huge enthusiasm. We've got Reddit comments talking about dedicated fans, quick developer responses, but also some calling it dead.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have hard financial data showing massive revenue and profit, comparing really well even to giants like ShiftUp. And finally, confirmation from a top exec about similar huge numbers for what seems to be the same game.
Exactly. You see this clear thread connecting the dots. The anecdotal evidence of passion those lines, this no peak W comments, isn't just noise. It's backed up by serious financial success, confirmed from multiple angles, public reports, and executive statements. And while people might debate if it's niche because it's a waifu shooter, the numbers clearly show it has significant reach and impact. The key ingredients seem to be that appealing theme combined with, crucially, that engaging 3D shooter gameplay that's kind of rare in the gacha space. Plus, maybe that developer responsiveness we talked about.
Right. So boiling it all down, what are the main things we should take away from this deep dive?
I think the biggest one is just how surprisingly popular Snowbreak actually is. Forget dead game, the event turnout, the revenue, the profit. It's substantial. Second, the appeal seems strongly tied to hitting that specific combo gacha collection with solid 3D shooting. It's filling a market gap. And third, the executive comments about Dustbreak really solidify the scale of this success. We're talking about a large, financially significant player base here.
Okay, so for you, the listener, why track lines for a game in China or sift through revenue reports? What's the takeaway for you?
Well, because it's a fascinating peek into the mobile gaming market right now. It really shows how a game that might look niche on the surface, specific, genre-specific aesthetic can actually break through and achieve major mainstream success, financially speaking. It kind of makes you question the easy assumptions about what works and what doesn't. What's a safe bet versus a niche risk? It highlights that really understanding and serving specific player desires, even if they seem specialized, can pay off massively if the execution is right.
So maybe here's something to chew on. What does the success of a game like Snowbreak or Dustbreak really signal about where mobile gaming tastes might be going? Are we maybe seeing a shift where more specialized, well-executed genres can capture a big audience? Could there be other seemingly neat corners of the gaming world just waiting for the right game to unlock that kind of unexpected massive success? Definitely something to think about.